Alrighty, so we are live here with my favorite cousin in Sweden.
Yay. Whoa,
So,
yes, from
how,
Sweden.
how is Stockholm?
Oh, it's quite uncrowded, so to say. It's quite empty. I saw some statistics in the daily paper, Dagens Nyheter, the daily news, that people were leaving the city. They have measured the amount of people using the cell phones in city, and it seems to be reduced by 70% in some places.
Wow.
So it's quite people stay at home and so
So, do you take the subway to work?
no, I always go by bike, so I rarely take the subway. It's just a few times a
Ah.
year.
So even when there is like winter and there is snow and stuff, you still go by bike?
Yes, you can carry the bike if it's too snowy, as it was 1 year ago. Then I
Oh.
went before before the snow was taken care of. That was extreme. It was coming 1 month too early, so no one was prepared to take away the snow.
Oh.
So people just had to walk. So there was a narrow area where people had been walking before you.
Wow. Wow. So I have to ask, like when you go by bike, have you ever had any accidents?
Yep, several times.
Because I would think when there is like winter, especially when the snow melts and then it gets cold and then the snow turns into water and then ice. And I remember myself, I've been slipping many times. You know, you're hitting the brake and then you just, choom.
Yeah. But if I am to steer the bike myself, I'm all right, because then I adapt my speed due to the circumstances. But I was hit by a cab once in 2010.
Wow.
So I was standing. I had summer tires on the bike.
Oh, you got summer tires and winter tires on the
Well,
bike.
yeah, I switched to winter tires after a while. It's quite icy here, so and it behaves the same as on the car. So the rubber is slippery. Summer, if you cycle a lot, if you cycle a lot, I didn't care about that when I lived in southern of Sweden, but here it's colder. So
So,
it's quite heavy traffic as well. So it's a good investment in your life. And the spikes on the tires, they really get a grip on ice, so you can. It's more or less better than being on asphalt because the spikes really get into the ice and rug it up, so you feel very safe.
so you got spikes on the bicycle tire.
Yeah, I got spikes now, but this winter has been very warm, so I didn't need them much. But when you're in a town where with about 1 million inhabitants and vehicles are coming from everywhere, you need to have good brakes and good tires, I think.
Yeah, maybe not now when we have the virus.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to ask you, David. Cause what's so with the virus, there has been a lot of misinformation. There has been a lot of rumors, and yeah, you spend 3 weeks reading the news, and you don't really get educated. But
Well,
what's your opinion?
I think it's been taken seriously in Sweden. I merely taken part of the official 2 p.m. Press conferences. We have one person being responsible for the public health in Sweden, Anders something, that has speeches each day about, and the government is also, issuing different orders. So right now we're not allowed to be more than 50 people at one spot. If we are more than 50 people, if you arrange something that involves more than 50 people, you could go to jail for half a year.
And
And everyone is.
tough luck if you have the virus or someone else has the virus and you go to jail and you congregate in there and then everyone has the virus.
Yeah.
We don't need death penalty. We can just chuck someone with virus in jail and everyone got it.
Yeah, true. But people stay at home. We're urged to work from home, so I've been working home for 2 weeks. and lots of people have been doing that as well. So we do a lot of video meeting and stuff, and everyone is at home and no one travels. So restaurants go bankrupt and planes are parked, and well, everyone is working from home more or less. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people. But I
So,
think the information is quite decent. I mean, we depend on what you read, of course, but it's quite simple. You should wash your hands. It shouldn't be more than 1 meter next to each other. You shouldn't sneeze on other people.
mhm.
uh, yeah, and buffets are forbidden now. You have to be served at the table. You're not allowed to sit in a bar anymore because then you're too close to each other. And if you're over 70 years old, you should avoid social contacts. So I think the information is taken care of. So the main problem now is that it is so extremely boring just sitting at home.
Yes, and that's why we can do podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
So, question like in Stockholm, the city of Stockholm, is restaurants and bars, cinemas, and so on, are they still open?
I'm not sure about cinemas. I think the bars and restaurants, some have closed down because they served buffets, which we were urged not to uh, eat. But and it's not that crowded, so I think it's partly solving itself by people not going out that much. But I haven't seen. I think the restaurants are open, but they have few visitors.
And when you go out in the city of Stockholm, either you go on the subway, you're walking, or going by bike, can you see with your own eyes? Like there is a lot less like traffic and people and all that.
It depends on. It was quite sunny this last weekend, and then I cycled around, and there were people walking around. Uh, it was not super crowded, but people were enjoying the sun, and we were also urged from the authorities to go outside and have a walk because it's not dangerous to be outside. The dangerous thing is to be too close to each other. So we are urged to go outside and have some exercise.
Because that's another thing, like with your immune system, there is two things that are super important. One is vitamin D, so be out in the sunshine. And the other thing is stress. If you are really stressed, that will weaken your immune system.
Yeah.
So if you're at home being super stressed and not go out, that's not good either.
No, no, we are urged to go out. My employer says that we should go out and have a walk and so, and the authorities says that everyone should go out, even if independent. It doesn't depend on whether you're old or young. You should go out anyway. That's not dangerous. That's healthy.
Because
So they agree with you.
in Australia we have been having a bit of a different approach. Like they are a lot more strict. So, for example, now coming home from Thailand with my parents came home and they have been told to, try to stay at home as much as possible.
Yeah.
Coming home, I was greeted with people in hazmat suits giving me paperwork saying if you don't follow this, you can be fined up to $13,000 and you are required to self-isolate for 14 days. So I'm sitting in quarantine for 14 days. This is day 9.
Wow, already 9 days. Oh,
And it's been really nice, actually. It's because I
okay.
usually feel guilty for not going out, or I feel,
I have an image of that.
and you feel guilty because you're not doing enough, you're not productive enough, you don't go out. But now I
Mm,
can be up to 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, play my computer games, and I feel great
yeah.
because I don't have that pressure.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
no, that's
have to
good.
work. I don't have to do anything. It's and
It's
exploring the house, exploring the garage. I'm cleaning, I'm finding things to do.
yeah, and you've just been in Thailand for a while, so you need to
Rest and
rest for
sleep
a
in.
while. Yeah, so it's quite all right.
So yeah, we got the self-isolation for 14 days, but also we've shut every non-essential business.
Wow.
So what's running at the moment is, the supermarket,
Hmm.
pharmacies, any essential thing, and
Yeah,
everything else is shut.
it is. I say, yeah. But it's somewhat of the same here because people aren't walking around and shopping. Because I went to the Mall of Scandinavia, which is a large shopping mall close to me, and it was very empty, and the stores were about to close earlier because there weren't any people. There wasn't no people there. It was quite empty, so it's the same
And
behavior in Sweden as in Australia, it seems. Although we can do whatever we want, but we're urged to stay at home, and we do that. So it's a different approach.
and also it's winter time in Sweden, so people do tend to spend more time at home.
Yeah, yeah, but it's springtime now, so it's 10 degrees Celsius in the middle of the day and sunny. At least for some days less this week.
So I have to ask you, David, like your professional opinion. So some people think that it's exaggerated, we're overreacting, this will be over soon. Do you think that we are overreacting?
That's a difficult question. I think the authorities here says that the aim is to reduce the stress on the hospitals because the problem is that we cannot take care of a too large amount of people. So we need to spread to flatten the curve of people getting ill. That's the purpose of this. And quite a few of us won't suffer too much. So the steps that are being taken is not to protect the 30-year-old people. It's in order to prevent people from dying, in order to have a certain amount of people getting to the hospital. And that's the objective of this. So I don't think we overreact in the sense that we have hospitals with that doesn't have that much capacity for extra things. But if you
Yes.
take the economy and the people as a whole, if we don't care that some people die, then it wouldn't be any problem to have the society running because it would merely kill. Well, it will kill a few, but most people will survive. So it depends if your philosophical view.
Yes,
What's
and
most
if
important is it's people lives or money.
and it was interesting because we were talking about climate change, and my opinion has been that we can't really do much about climate change at this point because people are not willing to pay the price, and the only thing we can really do is to limit population, and then boom, the coronavirus came.
Yeah, that's a bit ironic because we've been speaking about the environment all the time. We should reduce consumption. We should travel less, and everyone says, and then Corona comes along, and every airplane is parked, and we don't shop, and we don't
Can
travel.
you imagine how much CO2 has been saved since the virus?
Yeah, I've had the same thought. No, don't have any clue, but I think it's a bit ironic that all of a sudden it was possible to save the environment. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, but the thing is, we can save the environment. That's not the problem. It's just people are not willing to pay the price. But when you are forced to pay the price, if it's you or death, then you will do it.
Yes,
But people are spoiled little brats, and the thing is, if you want to pay the price for climate change, you can basically say that you will earn 30% of what you're earning right now in your wage if you would have to pay the price of having everything green and so on. And people are not willing to lower their quality of life for the climate, obviously. We've seen that. So you go ahead.
Yeah, but another way of seeing it is that if you live in a society where you can consume whatever you want, you get less children, and that's also good as well. And if you live in a poor environment, you get lots of children, so that's also a factor.
Yes, it is. And why do you think that is, that they have lots of children in poor countries?
Because that's their lifeline for when they get older. Their children take care of them, and lots of children die, so you need to get many children.
So if you are in Africa and you have 15 kids, so 5 of them will be eaten by crocodiles. Another 5 is sort of semi-dumb. And then you have 2 that are really successful and 1 becomes a doctor. And
Yeah,
that person, like, that's what you say, it's an insurance policy. It's your pension, it's to survive.
yeah, but I think people are getting richer in Africa as well. So I
In
think
part, in part of Africa, yeah, but it's Africa is very rich, but it's just poorly managed.
yeah, but it's the same with India and lots of states. Maybe the US could qualify as well to some extent.
Yeah, possibly. I
Yeah,
I want to show you. I
yeah,
want to show you this graph. By the way, what we were talking about with the
yeah, you
coronavirus.
can't because your video has been dead since eternity.
Oh, my video is dead.
Yeah, it's frozen for
Oh,
since we
anyways,
started.
I'm just showing a graph here, and the corona has a very high peak, and a
Mhm.
normal has a more sort of mild curve. And because the curve is so steep, the healthcare system has a problem to keep. Like, there is so many people getting sick at once.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
that's
what I understand is the problem with corona, that the virus is it's so many at the same time versus it's more spread out normally.
yeah, exactly. So the only task or mission to the objective to reach is to flatten the curve, or not getting a less steep curve. That's yeah.
So yeah, it's I think Mother Earth is quite happy with the amount of CO2 that's we've been reducing.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see some calculation of if we reduced our consumption by 30% or something.
I
Or
think it's more
CO2.
like 50%, like all air travel is suspended. People don't commute anymore. It's only essential services running.
Yeah, like the internet and the Amazon cloud stuff. And the Facebook data centers and the Google data centers and the Microsoft data centers and the internet infrastructure and the electric cars and stuff. But yeah, you're right. It could be reduced quite a lot. It might be the amount of the quantity that you said.
And you said too that you had looked at the mobile infrastructure, and the usage apparently has been going down.
Yeah, the Telia, one of the operators, they have made some statistics that and since they have a market share about 20-30%, I think, on the mobile market, I think they put that into account to include the whole population. So I think in some areas in central Stockholm, the amount of people spending their time there was reduced by 70%. But people do
Mm.
commute a lot in this area, so it's not that strange. If they work from home, of course, they're living in Märsta or Storvreta or whatever, Södertälje.
So this virus, has it affected you in any ways?
Uh, not in the sense that I gotten the coronavirus, I think, but I was urged to work from home, both from my employer and the authorities. So I've been working from home for 2 weeks now.
You haven't had any investments or anything like that?
Well, I have my retirement money, premiepension, the premium pension, premium retirement money that we were obliged to put into some what's called fonder, funds.
Funds,
Yeah. Uh,
managed funds, or index funds, or whatever. You basically, it's like a basket of stocks.
yeah, exactly. So they increased in value 30% last year, and that's probably gone away now. But apart from that, I don't. I have my savings on a bank account with 0% interest, so nothing happens there, for good or worse.
Because yeah, with the retirement money, I mean, it doesn't matter that much because you're really in for the long term.
Yeah, and that part of the retirement money, it's not a big amount, I think, in the total. The grand total, it's just a portion of the money.
Yeah, because I didn't realize how bad the corona thing was until we were in Thailand in the middle of our vacation, and I got 30 emails from my stockbroker, and it
Oh,
said margin call, margin call, margin call, urgent margin call. And then I logged into my trading account, and what we call in financial term, it got wiped. So
yeah,
basically, all the positions were closed because there was not enough money. So yeah, so the trading account got wiped, and yeah, I got quite upset. But I think a lot of people have lost a lot of money because the stock market it's gone
yeah,
down from like about 50%. So
yeah.
half.
It's of
So if it was
course.
6,000 before, now it's 3,000 after the corona. So the economy has taken a big hit.
Yeah, of course, and yeah,
But if you're sitting on cash, like now is the time to buy the stocks because, it's very, very cheap.
yes, yes,
If I can see anything with people, how they react, it's like it's always an overreaction. In bad times, people think that, it's gonna be Armageddon. We're gonna like this is gonna be really bad. And then in good times, you tend to also think that the good times will keep on forever. So it's like an overreaction.
yeah. There was this. It was a terror action in Stockholm a few years ago, where when one guy killed 6 people with a van in the city, and then the whole of Stockholm panicked. So they were closing down the subway and all the buses. So people were walking. 1 million people were leaving the city of Stockholm by feet, and
Wow.
everyone was panicking. I was south of Stockholm in Flemingsberg, Huddinge, which is 2 miles south of Stockholm or something. So I returned to the city by a bus, and a bus ran by a commercial company for the hospital and the institute where I work, the medical university. And then we were a SUV car, big car, was passing the bus very fast and aggressively, and the bus driver honked at him, and he stopped the car and wanted to beat the driver of the bus, and then the passengers were rushing in front of the bus and shouting and screaming at the guy in the SUV that he should shut up, and in times like this he should just go on. And then he was punishing us by getting into the car and driving very slow to show his emotions.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
was, and then I got a call from Angela, which you know, from Paris. She wrote to me, "Are you okay in Stockholm?" And my brother sent a text message directly, "Are you all right?" And then I was listening to the radio on the bus, and then the reporter said, there is a rumor about firearms being used in central Stockholm. People are panicking. And then the same journalist called the police and said, I've heard rumors about firearms being used at Fridhemsplan, which is a place in Stockholm. Do you know anything about that? No, said the police. I haven't heard anything about that. I've heard some rumors about shots being fired at Hertoyet, which is another place. He said to the reporter, and then they hung up, and the reporter repeated, as you heard, there were rumors about people being shot and firearms being used at Fridhemsplan. And I thought, why didn't the journalist listen to what the police said 5 seconds earlier? He said that it was just a rumor, and he hadn't heard anything about it. So people were panicking.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what media is doing. They want to get clicks. So I mean, media is always clickbaiting you. They always distort the story so they can get more attention, which is the danger, because
it's a bit weird.
The way they're portraying things.
Yeah, a few winters ago, one reporter were interviewing one people responsible for taking away the snow and ice. And she said, can you really promise now that no one will get hurt? And then that person said, it's a Swedish winter. It's icy. We can't promise that we have put protection for slippery everywhere. So yeah, people are panicking and asking weird questions.
Like I remember back in 2001, I think it was, when they had the 9/11 attacks.
Yeah.
And after that, people in the US reacted by stop flying, and people were like, instead of flying to places, they would drive long road trips. And a lot of people died. A lot more people died because it's a lot more dangerous to drive than to fly.
Yeah, that's the way we react. But I actually, we had a visitor at my current workplace at that time, 9/11, and she was from Virginia. So she looked at the World Trade Centers falling apart, and so I said, it's not that strange. The United States of America is messing with the whole world, so of course someone will fight back. She was quite cool about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, David, and stay awesome, and talk to you later.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.